Hello, Von Tom 2020 here with 2020 MC Gaming, and today we have a tutorial on bamboo farming in anticipation of the new release 1.14. Now we are in Snapshot 19w08a. 19w08b is out already, but apparently there's a little bit of a problem with minecarts. I noticed they don't want to take corners properly, so we're just going to use this one. Now, behind us, you can see I've got a lot of contraptions set up. You know, I spent a lot of time playing vanilla survival in the new snapshots just for the fun of it. And so a lot of these observations I made when I was tooling around in the world trying to make things work. So let me show you what I found. Now, before we really dig in, let's talk about the merits of bamboo. Now, it's renewable. You can craft stuff with it. It makes a fuel source, and it grows really fast. Now this is going to be the premise for all of the farms we look at today. Now when it comes to crafting, you can use 2 bamboo to make 1 stick. 32 bamboo equals 16 sticks. That's really cool. You can use that to make tool handles, torches, ladders, levers, all sorts of stuff. And when it comes to scaffolding, 1 string and 6 bamboo is going to make you 6 units of scaffolding, a very welcome addition to the game. Admittedly, bamboo does not make a very efficient fuel. It takes 4 pieces of bamboo to smelt 1 block. Now, 4 pieces of coal will smelt you 32 blocks, and 4 kelp blocks would smelt you 80 blocks, but it is a renewable resource. You can automate farms, and you don't have to craft it before using it as a fuel like you do with kelp blocks. So actually, if you have a good enough farm, then you really would benefit from using bamboo as a fuel. If your farm's output is good enough, you could supply furnaces indefinitely and have more than enough fuel needed as long as you had storage capacity. And that's why we're here today. Now, unfortunately, bamboo is not compostable. Now, neither are rotten potatoes, but beets are, and they really don't have much of any other uses, right? So you could, technically speaking, and I will be showing you this, set up a automated beet farm that uses a composter to create bone meal that supplies an automated bone meal driven redstone powered bamboo farm that could provide you with an endless supply of bamboo. So I forgive it for not being compostable. So here is a nice, simple, if perhaps clumsy, redstone bone meal powered bamboo farm to show you that bone meal can actually be used to accelerate the growth of bamboo, and it is very fast. It will actually grow 1 to 2 units per bone meal unit, which is pretty fantastic. Now, with the use of composters to make bone meal, this actually has a lot of potential, but there are a few inherent problems. It just needs a little bit of refining, but I'll show you some stuff as we move forward. Now, if it's really early world, and all you've got's a bamboo grove, the best way to handle it is the sword. Sword is insta-mine with bamboo, and that is really sweet. I think this harkens back to the Japanese idea of tamashigiri, which is using bamboo to test the sharpness of a blade. But look at that. Now, note, we are using a diamond sword for this. Now, diamond swords are, they have quite a lot of durability, and that's not so true with some of the other swords. So if you're early world and you're doing, let's say, iron or stone, it's still insta-mine, but man, it is going to wreck your tools quick. It's fast, but it's going to wreck your tools quick. So that right there was a 6x7 patch of bamboo, and it yielded us almost 9 stacks of bamboo. That's pretty tight. So comparing that to an iron sword, I think it's about the same size of grove. I might be a little bit off. I think it's about the same size. You'll see it harvests just as fast. So highly efficient for an early world farm. Just bamboo grove, take a sword to it, and collect your loot by running around, picking it all up. Maybe not the most efficient way to handle it, but hey, this is an early world farm right here we're looking at, so just bear in mind, look at the durability of the sword right now. It goes down from approximately 250 something durability to just over 150. That's quite a lot of damage. But back to the bone meal powered farms. Now what I've got here is a simple fast clock feeding a dispenser and a piston, simple on-off switch. So it's a piston and bone meal powered bamboo farm. Now it's got a couple of problems though. Now, firstly, you're going to have a composter set up so you can get all the bone meal. You could make this early world. It wouldn't be too hard, but you're going to have to definitely have a good composter. Now, the other problem that we're going to highlight in a second here, when you plant a piece of bamboo on the grass, it's going to grow in a random location on the top of that block. Now, sometimes the location is going to have everything to do with whether or not your farm works properly or not. See how the bamboo stalk is a little bit straightforward from the piston. Now you'll see it in a second when I step off from this piston, but the drops will want to land on top of the piece of broken bamboo, the bamboo sprout at the base there. And when they do this, they can't be picked up by the hopper underneath. So they'll just sit there and your hopper won't actually pick it up. So you'll have to be physically present to pick up the drops. It's getting close here and you can see it. See how they're just kind of sitting on top of the piece of bamboo? Now they're just floating there. They're kind of obscured by the top of the bamboo plant, but you can see them. Now, the problem with this is you could not like AFK or go about your business and let this thing just run until it was out of bone meal, because there's a potential that the hopper, I got a hopper minecart hidden under the grass block there, which theoretically would be picking everything up. But if you build it in a wrong location, then you're going to lose all those drops. It wouldn't do anything for you except waste your bone meal and create lag. Now, if you build it in the right place, this is a really great farm. And I should have built the ceiling a little bit higher, because sometimes the bone meal will give you 2 growths of bamboo. But it's a little bit of a problem. And it means that this particular design needs a little bit of work. But if you do it right, it's pretty awesome, really. I mean, it'll crank it out all day long, and with an endless bone meal supply from, say, an automated beet farm or something. Oh, I just destroyed my sword. Huh. Now, this next farm is one of my favorites, and it's not because it's efficient or anything. It's just fun. Now, this one right here is a simple row of 2 growths of bamboo, 2 rows of hoppers facing towards each other. You push a button and it breaks all your bamboo. It's tileable, cheap. It's semi-manual. It's not hugely efficient. Definitely early world. You could conceivably build this in the first day. I mean, the layout is so simple. It just kind of requires you to run in circles and pick everything up. So, simple repeater, line of redstone wraps around the back, goes down the repeater, and that shelf right there underneath me, you could put a second row of hoppers. I mean, it's super simple. And here we go. Now you'll notice all the particles when you first break the bamboo it's gonna give you a pulse of lag, but it usually resolves in a second there. You can go about your business. It's not going to be like constantly generating huge amounts of lag, which is okay. That's cool. I could deal with that for a minute there. Now you could make several rows of these and set delays on the repeaters so that it doesn't harvest them all at once, so it doesn't like crash your game or crash your server. Oh, hey, look at this. We got a visitor. I got mob spawning turned off. I don't know how he got here. Okay, pay no attention to the cool traveling wanderer and his awesome llamas. We're going to grab another piston here, and I'll show you. You can just lay out another row of pistons, repeat the pattern. You could fill a chunk with it. You can make multiple layers of it. He is going to walk right into our way, isn't he? Look out, cool llama. So you could just lay down another row of pistons, lay down another row of bamboo, and voila, simple. The only problem with this is it would get a little bit pricey as far as iron is concerned, but you could build this first day, and it's not that, it is fairly efficient, you know. And see, look, it works perfectly. So if you're looking for cheap and easy, this isn't a bad way either. It'll save you a sword, but you're going to spend that iron on pistons. Now, while we're talking about our various options with bamboo farming, it might be interesting to know that bamboo is not going to break automatically when it grows into a block from the underside. Now, the block isn't going to prevent it from growing like some other crops. It's not going to break it either. It's going to, like it does with cactus, but it's going to grow right into the underside of the block and stop there. Doesn't matter whether it's a solid block or a transparent block like the glass. Another interesting detail is that you can plant bamboo on sand, gravel, podzol, or red sand, which is kind of cool because aesthetically speaking, it could add something to your farms. Now, another important detail to note also is that you can place gravity blocks on top of railroad tracks, and you can plant bamboo on them. Let me, I don't want this thing to grow too tall. And the cool thing is you can put a minecart on there, and it will not update your sand block, so you could use pretty blocks instead of grass blocks or dirt blocks if you wanted to, which is really cool in my opinion. Now, this is one of the first redstone-powered farms that I built. It's got a row of pistons and observer. I took the cheap way out, just used one, but you could put more along this back row right here, right above this row of this line of redstone. The collection system is a minecart hopper that runs on a rail underneath, and all you got to do is get that one piece of bamboo to grow up in front of that observer, and it will break all of them. Now, the problem is, with one observer, taking the cheap way out, farm's not going to get triggered until that one piece of bamboo grows. Yeah, that slow one there. Like that. Now, this one's fairly cheap and easy to build. The output is okay, but it's not hugely efficient. It is tileable, so you could build multiple of these. And with only one observer, it's going to have various outliers that grow up above the farm, and so you'll lose the drop. So maybe it would pay to have more observers. But there's the minecart. Let's see that thing in action. I'm going to go ahead and break some glass out here and let you see the minecart get triggered. It gets triggered by the same redstone mechanism that fires off the pistons, but the redstone is very, very simple. Now, it's inexpensive-ish. If you build it in the spawn chunks, it will keep working when you're not around. It's, like I mentioned, it's tileable, relatively early world. So it is an option. Maybe not one of the better options, but it is an option. And but there are a few quirks with it. Like if you look down here, see the drops will land on top of the broken bamboo stalks and just hover there. The minecart hopper won't be able to get them. Now, if I were to put some more observer blocks in here, we would get better updates. And maybe if I put like a observer every other block up there up top, it'd probably give us a better output. Now, one improvement we could make is to put a roof on the thing, which would limit the bamboo growth so that we wouldn't have loss if we were confined or constrained as far as, say, space goes. We could still tile it maybe, but we couldn't go for height. And of course, another one is to, say, add more observers. Depends on how much nether quartz you got laying around. So if I put them like every third block or every other block or even every single block, that whole line of pistons is going to fire off any time any bamboo grows up in front of any of those observers, which is why I chose that length for the farm. Now, here's my personal favorite. Now, this one's my personal favorite because it involves a slime block flying machine, and there's this soft, warm place in my heart for the flying machines. Love it. So, what we have here is we've got a hopper clock, we've got a pulse extender, we've got a torch a redstone torch ladder, and there's our flying machine taking off. Looks a little bit like a tennis court in there, doesn't it? Right, so the flying machine, the return station is super simple. Just, 3 blocks it takes up, not too complex. We saw the problem of drops landing on top of the bamboo stalks like we've seen in some of the other farms, but I think it's going to be really hard to avoid that one. The send station is very, very similar to the return station. You just got to, have a pulse come up there and power the thing. And you've got a minecart system underneath it, which is going to collect all your drops. And this farm, you can extend it. You can make it as big as you want. I built this one so it would fit right in one chunk. Actually, with the hopper clock, it extends right out of it. Now, you could have this thing driven by an observer block so that when the bamboo grew to a certain height, it would automatically set off the flying machine. That's one option, and I've made a variant to that. I'll show it to you soon. Now, this farm was inspired by a Gnembon build where he used a flying machine to harvest sugarcane. Absolutely brilliant. And to be quite frankly, I've borrowed several of the concepts from his videos. I'll link his video down there in the bottom. Now, it's very efficient, very high output, fully automated. You can walk away from it. Now, it's fairly easy to build if you're confident with your redstone skills, and but that's offset by the fact that it's fairly costly. This is definitely not an early world build. You need rails, slime blocks. You'll need some iron. Now, this can be a little bit laggy when the flying machine takes off. You'll notice it gets a little bit framey in here, and I mentioned the timer, and you can totally dispense with the timer, all that redstone down there, and use observer instead, but that is tricky for a different reason. Now, the reason it's tricky is because the order in which you place the blocks will have everything to do with whether or not the observers actually read the bamboo growth and trigger the flying machine. Gets a little bit tricky, and you got to know your redstone. Okay, let's watch it take off one more time, and we're going to go and take a look at this blank row where the flying machine usually sits when it is at rest. Now, you'll notice that there's some bamboo drops that get kicked back under there when the thing's on its way back. This is why we have the minecart track going under every single grass block all the way across. When this thing comes back through, it's going to grab those ones that got kicked up over there into this one lane, so to speak. And there we go. They're all disappearing. So that's why. Now, as far as output goes, I have not done the exact math, but I will tell you that this double chest right here is not going to be enough. As a matter of fact, I guarantee you by the time we get done with the block by block, we'll be over here emptying this thing, or we're going to have drops lying all around in the yard. The output of these things for a simple one chunk size can be pretty tremendous, which is a good thing if you're planning on using the bamboo as a fuel. Now, the timer, I've got it set up to go off about every 3 minutes or so. So if you can imagine a one chunk farm like this, where the bamboo output was feeding directly into a furnace array as the fuel source, we'll just say with the output of this farm, you would not have a problem with fuel, despite the fact that it takes 4 pieces of bamboo to smelt 1 block. You'd not have a problem with fuel. So this looks like a pretty good place to end the video, and while the traveling merchant and his cute little llamas are wandering on the background, I'm going to tell you what to expect next. I'm going to be releasing a block-by-block tutorial on a few of these farms I've shown you today, including the bone meal-powered redstone automated farm and the flying machine farm, both of which are going to be really fun. So if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up, and if you really liked the video and you like our channel, please consider subscribing so that you can stay abreast of all the new tutorials and base tours we're going to be doing. And with that, thank you for stopping by and have a great day.